Coming up on Valley View News, LA County approves a temporary rent control measure. Plus, a memorial is made for victims of the borderline bar shooting. And Disney releases a teaser for the live-action Lion King movie.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Brian Berman.
And I'm Sammy Shakta.
The Camp Fire is 100% contained. Rain helped firefighters contain the fire 5 days earlier than expected. 14,000 homes were destroyed, 85 people died. The number of missing still stands near 300. Search and recovery teams continue to look for human remains in the rubble and wreckage.
While the rainfall was a great help in fighting the Camp Fire, rain could bring on other concerns. Too much rain too soon could cause flash floods, mudslides, and debris flows in damaged areas by the Camp Fire.
Power lines that are still down, there's trees that are still down, there's branches that are going to come down, culverts that are washed out in the roadway, so there's just going to be a tremendous amount of hazards.
Meanwhile, some local businesses in Chico, like Walmart, helped to relocate residents to temporary encampments in their parking lots.
Malibu residents are returning to their homes after being evacuated during the Woolsey fire. One community member thanks her plants for saving her backyard. Here's Valley View News reporter Enrie Amezcua with the story.
Fast-moving winds and dried brush caused many residents to lose their homes in the Woolsey fire. Malibu resident Linda Gibbs lost her home. Still, she says her plants protected part of her backyard living area from the blaze.
When it rains, the water soaks in instead of running off or sitting on top because there's soil aggregates and there's glomalin and there's mycorrhizal fungi, and it's holding the water.
Gibbs' home was destroyed, leaving only walls, glass, and a fireplace. She's happy that her garden was spared. She says the garden prevented more damage.
And those plants even kept like that fence from burning, which kind of blows my mind because that's very dry. I mean, that's like a, right? That seems like a kindling. But I think because there was so much green around it.
Gibbs says her entire community could have been destroyed if it weren't for hard work. She says as firefighters were working on the fast-moving wildfire, a few brave men came back and kept some homes from being destroyed.
It was work of their heart, but it's heartbreaking work. And their face shows the burden of those labors.
One thing is for certain, if rain is expected in forecast, parts of these areas will be in danger to flash floods. In Malibu, I'm Enrie Amezcua, Valley View News.
Home prices in the San Fernando Valley simmered down after hitting record-breaking highs. The valley's average sale price for a single-family home was $678,000 in October. In May, the average price was $708,000. Condo prices also dropped. The figures were gathered by Southland Regional Association of Realtors. They say the drop in values reflect consumer concerns over affordability, the economy, and steady increases in the homes listed for sale.
Even though Proposition 10 failed, the LA County Board of Supervisors has passed its own measure to fight rising rents. They voted 4-1 to place a rent freeze on unincorporated parts of LA County. It prevents landlords from increasing rent by more than 3% for 6 months. Some apartment owners say voters don't want rent control and point to the failure of Prop 10 as evidence. But tenant advocate groups say rent control is still necessary in Los Angeles.
U.S. Customs and Border Patrol agents closed the San Ysidro point of entry between San Diego and Tijuana. This happened after tear gas was fired on migrants trying to cross the border for asylum on Sunday. The border was closed for 6 hours. President Trump told the Mexican government that the migrants should be sent back to Central America. He also said the U.S. could close the border permanently if needed. Meanwhile, the Border Patrol said it used pepper spray and tear gas on migrants after being struck with rocks. No injuries were reported, however. Images of tear gas being fired on women and children sparked some public outrage on social media.
General Motors is stopping production at 5 auto plants in the U.S. and Canada next year. It blames poor sales and lower gas prices. 14,000 jobs will be eliminated, but the cuts will save GM $6 billion by the year 2020. Some plants may restart, depending on contract negotiations with the United Auto Workers Union. The UAW is criticizing GM for the closures while opening new production lines in China.
Winter arrived early for a large part of the U.S. 10 million people in the Northeast and Midwest were under a blizzard warning. At least 1,000 flights were canceled. Chicago's O'Hare Airport was hit hardest. It had more than 800 cancellations. 200,000 people lost power in Illinois. 50,000 lost power in Michigan, Indiana, and Wisconsin.
The trial starts this week for the man who allegedly drove his car into a crowd of protesters in Charlottesville last year. Heather Heyer was killed by the car during the Unite the Right rally. James Alex Fields is charged with her murder. He also faces federal hate crime charges. Fields had neo-Nazi leanings on his social media accounts, but some white nationalist groups deny any association with him.
A new rover has landed on Mars. NASA's InSight traveled 270 million miles to make the Mars landing on Monday. The rover avoided some potential problems before touching down. It had to avoid a hard landing that could have destroyed the craft. The landing site is a familiar one to NASA. The agency previously landed 7 other rovers nearby. The latest rover is expected to operate for at least 2 years before finally going silent, like some of its predecessors did.
Now it's time for entertainment news from Valley View's Zaira Garcia. Zaira.
Yes, thank you, Brian. A benefit concert in Westlake Village was held this weekend to help raise money for the families who lost their loved ones at the borderline mass shooting. Valley View's Daria Hariri tells us more.
We want to thank you for coming.
Just weeks after the borderline bar and grill mass shooting, Thousand Oaks came together to hold a benefit concert. The band, Twisted Gypsy, performed music from Fleetwood Mac while people gathered in support of victims' families. All donations go to the 12 families.
So I'm a fundraising specialist, and this is what I do for charities. I've lived here for 20 years, so I wanted to get behind this and do something for the families.
Much was donated, including food trucks and $100,000 worth of raffle items. Coordinators wanted to show a sense of community beyond just words. The thought of healing is in everyone's mind. They wanted people to heal together on this special day.
The primary thing is that we start to heal and we don't look over our shoulders, that we know we love each other. I want people here today to dance, laugh, cry, but together. I mean, that's what it's about. People are grieving independently in their homes.
This event is supposed to bring smiles. Still, people are in a state of shock. The hashtag Thousand Oaks Strong is something that represents strength, but fear at the same time. Parents of survivors from the mass shooting say they still feel helpless. They hope for more gun laws.
And they'll ask about you say to your child, be safe before he left that night. Be safe, Max, I love you. But you don't know if that's the last time you get to say be safe, and how safe are your children going to be.
We'll stand strong emotionally, physically, mentally, and we'll be healed by love.
Since the borderline bar and grill mass shooting, the community has come together to help those in need. The money raised from this event will be donated to the Borderline Strong Memorial Fund. Reporting in Westlake Village, I'm Daria Hariri for Valley View News.
Alec Baldwin pled not guilty to harassment and assault charges. He was accused of punching a man during a parking spot dispute. New York police say a driver pulled into a parking space reserved for Baldwin before the incident happened. The driver checked into the hospital complaining of jaw and neck pains. Baldwin appears in court January 23rd. The model Kim Porter was buried last weekend in Columbus, Georgia. Porter is music icon P. Diddy's former wife. 2,500 people attended her funeral. R&B singer Faith Evans and gospel singer Yolanda Adams sang during her funeral service. An all-trans fashion show hit the city of LA. Valley View's Melissa Rodriguez tells us more. Melissa?
Hundreds of people gathered in LA for the Trans Day of Remembrance, an event that draws attention to the violence in the trans community.
Bambi Salcedo came out with this idea.
Because I think it's important to be seen.
This is the 4th Garas All Trans Fashion Show hosted by the Trans Latina Coalition. Garas, also known as Groundbreaking Activism Redirecting and Reforming All Systems, is centered around the Trans Day of Remembrance. This event is meant to empower, show strength, and beauty within the trans community. Trans Latina Coalition is a nonprofit providing services for trans and nonconforming individuals who have been released from prison and immigration custody. Trans Latina Coalition Coordinator of Programs and Services, Erica de la Cruz, says they help trans become successful in life.
The power, to be proud of yourself is actually, it brings a lot. It brings a lot to the community, and I think so far it's been working very well. So I'm very proud to be part of the Trans Latina Coalition.
Trans Latina helped one of their new employees become a case manager for the community. Gina Hernandez is a case manager for the Trans Power program.
Latin girl from Central America, and I saw the need of my own community. That's why I joined it, because
I feel like I could offer the help that some girls need.
Garas brings trans and gender nonconforming communities together. As allies, they use their talents for leadership and activism. Those talents and other multiple skills are helpful for raising funds that are needed by the trans and gender nonconforming community. Designer Javon Wolf says he's glad to be surrounded by people like him.
Thought it was pretty amazing to be highlighting trans folks in the community. You know, people who are not just artists but also activists. So I just thought it was really dope to just be with my peers and do this really empowering project together. So I'm just really excited about it.
Although many people still don't support the trans community, Trans Latina Coalition is making a difference one fashion show at a time. In Northridge, I'm Melissa Rodriguez. Back to you in the studio.
The Disney classic The Lion King returns to the big screen with live-action features. The company released a new Lion King trailer. It had 224 million views globally. The Lion King hits theaters July 2019. Disney's Ralph Breaks the Internet and MGM's Creed 2 led the way. Creed 2, starring Michael B. Jordan, had a large opening for a live-action film. The film beat the first Creed by $13 million in its opening weekend. Ralph Breaks the Internet made $83.5 million in its first 5 days and $471 million globally. Ralph held the second highest Thanksgiving opening of all time, just behind Frozen. That's all for your entertainment news. I'm Zaira Garcia. Back to you, Sammy and Brian.
Thanks, Zaira. More to come on Valley View News. A Paris protest gets out of hand.
And the Lakers are on a 3-game win streak, hoping to win their 4th. Our sports reporter Brandon Benitez will tell us more when we come back.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
They call me Prince like I'm royalty or something. But the places I've lived ain't no palaces. So I don't need grilled salmon or a new scratching post. Just give me a cardboard box and a can of tuna and we're good. You can even change my name. I'm cool being the kitty formerly known as Prince.
Hi, Meals on Wheels. I'm Marco. I'm a college student and I volunteer as a driver for Meals on Wheels. I think it's awesome meeting these people. I mean, they're so interesting. They've had so many wonderful experiences in life. Your community helps to raise you up into the person that you become. Meals on Wheels is a great way to give back to that community.
Jerome Corsi is refusing to do a plea deal with special counsel Robert Mueller. Corsi, a conspiracy theorist and associate of Roger Stone, was offered a deal to plead guilty to 1 count of perjury. Prosecutors say he knew WikiLeaks was going to publish emails stolen from Democratic computers during the 2016 presidential campaign. Corsi said Mueller can put him in prison for the rest of his life because he won't sign to a lie. He said he had no contact with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Meanwhile, Roger Stone said the special counsel was harassing Corsi for refusing to lie.
Turkish police are searching 2 villas in northwest Turkey for the remains of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. 2 weeks ago, Turkish newspapers reported there were traces of acid found in the Saudi consulate's drains that made a connection to the 2 villas searched. Officers used dogs and drones as part of their investigation. They even searched a well in the garden of one of the villas. Khashoggi was killed by Saudis last month as he visited the kingdom's Istanbul consulate. His body is still missing. CSUN's campus newspaper, The Sundial, has a few new stories in the works.
Here's the Sundial sports editor, Justin Vigil, with details.
Thanks, Sammy and Brian. Right now on The Sundial, we have a few musical stories published. We have a photo essay on the Jishin Taiko Ensemble. It's a great inside look at CSUN's Japanese drumming club. We also have a profile on CSUN's youngest first violinist to make the honors quartet. And in sports, basketball season is in full swing. Freshman Lamine Gian continues to lead the way for the men's team. He currently leads all Big West players in points and rebounds. That's it for me at the Sundial. Back to you guys.
Now we have a roundup of news from around the world with Catherine Molina in our Digital Media Center. Catherine?
A British man accused of espionage was released by the United Arab Emirates. Matthew Hedges was sentenced to life in prison. The UAE said he was spying for Britain, while Hedges said he was researching for UAE's security and foreign policy for his PhD. UAE officials released him after getting a letter from his family. The U.S. offered up to $5 million for information about the terrorists responsible for the 2008 Mumbai hotel attack. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced the reward. He said the U.S. wants justice for the victims' families. The attack killed 166 people. Pompeo said the U.S. stands with friends and families of the victims. Thousands of people violently protested rising fuel prices in France. Paris protesters wore yellow vests as a part of the movement against the French government. French President Emmanuel Macron condemned those who attacked officers. He said there's no place for violence in the French Republic. Police used tear gas and water cannons to break up the protesters. As a result of the unrest, Macron is expected to call for a national debate on government policies. At least 145 whales were found beached in New Zealand. Half of the whales were found dead on the beach. Those surviving were later euthanized. The New Zealand's Department of Conservation said the remote location of the beaching kept rescuers from saving the whales. New Zealand gets an average of 85 beachings a year. The reason for the beachings are still unknown. That's it from around the world. Now back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Catherine. My Purple and Gold have won 3 straight games going into their next match. Let's get the latest with Brandon Benitez.
Thanks, Sammy. The Lakers have won 7 of their last 9 games. Their last loss came against the Magic in Orlando last week. They get their chance at revenge, this time at home. Second quarter, Lakers trailing 51-49. LeBron James steps back and nails the 3 at the buzzer. That gives LA the 1-point lead. Third quarter, Orlando's up 2. Nikola Vucevic surveys, then bounce passes right to Aaron Gordon, who flushes it. Lakers were outscored by 16 points in the third, but here they come in the fourth. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope finds LeBron on the fast break. He throws it down. Lakers chip away and trail by 5. They don't stop there. LeBron hits Caldwell-Pope out of the double team. He spots up, making the 3. It's a one-possession game. LA rallies back and ties the game at 104. Final minutes of the game, DJ Augustine finds Terrence Ross. He drives in for the layup, giving them the 2-point lead. Last chance for LA, Caldwell-Pope goes for 3, but this time he misses it. LA can't foul in time. The Magic push it up the floor and cash in on the easy dunk. That puts the game out of reach. Lakers lose a close one, 108-104. This loss snaps the Purple and Gold's 3-game win streak. Orlando completes the regular season sweep, and the Lakers fall to 11-8. But on the other hand, we have the Clippers. Since losing in Portland earlier this month, the Clippers have won 6 of their last 7 games. They get their chance at redemption as the Trailblazers host the Clippers. The Clippers trying to put the game on ice in the fourth, up by 4. Tobias Harris spots up in the corner and knocks down the triple. He tied his career-high 34 points, most of any Clipper this season, but Portland wouldn't go away. Next possession, Damian Lillard shoots from downtown, hitting the 3 and getting fouled. He converts on the 4-point play, making it a one-possession game. They get a stop, and with less than 2 minutes in the game, Lillard pulls up from deep again and ties the game at 100. He scored a team-high 30 points. Under a minute to go, the Clippers with a chance to take the lead. Danilo Gallinari pulls up from mid-range and gets the tough shot to fall, putting them back up by 2. Portland still has a chance to get the ball back. They force LA to miss, but the Clippers get the ball back and force the Trailblazers to foul. They hit their free throws, sealing the 104-100 win. It still may be early in the season, but the Clippers are one of the top teams in the West despite losing 3 former All-Stars since last season. With the Chiefs on a bye week, the Chargers are looking to keep pace for the division title in the AFC West. Former UCLA quarterback Josh Rosen making his return to LA as the Chargers host the Arizona Cardinals. Opening drive, Rosen takes the snap-off play action. He steps up in the pocket and fires it to Larry Fitzgerald. He breaks the tackle and scores for the early 7-0 lead. That's the 35-year-old's 5th touchdown of the year. Second quarter, LA down 10. Phillip Rivers slides to the left before finding Mike Williams in the corner of the end zone. That makes it a one-possession game. Later in the second, Chargers have the ball in Cardinal territory.
Gordon with a block and a big hole. Melvin Gordon, he's going to go all the way into the end zone. It's a Charger touchdown.
That gives the Chargers the 4-point lead. The Chargers keep it rolling. Second quarter, Chargers near the goal line. Gordon takes the handoff. He cuts outside and muscles his way, scoring his second touchdown of the game. LA extends the lead to 11. Just before halftime, Rivers finds Williams again in the end zone. He toe taps his way for his second touchdown of the game. Bolts lead 28-10 at the half. They go on to score 45 unanswered points, winning 45-10. Rivers completed 25 passes in a row, setting an NFL record. They face the Steelers in a primetime matchup in Pittsburgh next Sunday. The San Francisco 49ers have ended the gamble that started in the first round of the 2017 NFL Draft. Middle linebacker Reuben Foster was taken 31st overall and widely considered a top 5 prospect in the draft. However, a diluted urine sample and an argument during the combine, along with a shoulder injury, resulted in his slide to the end of the first round. Now, after Foster's 2 arrests earlier this year, he was arrested again, this time for misdemeanor domestic violence charges. The 49ers came to the conclusion they had to cut the troubled linebacker. Fans generally seem to understand the move, despite losing a player with high potential.
Hate to see a good player go, but if he doesn't deserve to be on the team, he doesn't deserve to be on the team.
The 49ers stood firm in their defense of Foster despite his multiple off-field issues. However, they now state that regardless of the results of this latest incident, no player comes before the team, and he put us in a bad light too often. In hockey, the Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings are both in the midst of subpar seasons. On Sunday, the Oilers visited Staples Center to face off with the Kings. It's 1-1 in the second period. Oilers win the face-off. Oscar Klefbom shoots from the tough angle. Alex Chiasson cleans up the round and slams it home for their second goal of the game. But back come the Kings later in the second. Anze Kopitar pushes the puck down the right. He stops and flicks a laser pass to Dustin Brown. He one-times it, scoring his second goal of the night. We're tied at 2. Third period, Nate Thompson finds Kopitar on the breakaway. He slips it in, scoring his second goal of the night, putting them up by 1. Kings end up winning 5-2. That win ends a 2-game losing streak. They still sit in last place in their division. They'll look to turn that around as they start a 3-game road trip in Canada. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Brandon. Coming up on Valley View News, Chinese researchers created the first genetically edited babies.
Also, Amazon continues to face criticism as protesters took over a store in Manhattan. Stay with us.
Hey there, Mrs. Carter. You can earn over 10% on your money if you deposit your savings into our investment
lucky
program.
sweepstakes winner.
Mrs.
Just
Carter,
enter your contact information and your winnings will
Grandma, it's me. Please help me. I'm stuck in Ohio and my wallet was stolen. Please send me some money so I can get home.
Millions of people, especially seniors, are targeted every day by an array of fraudulent scams through online technology. Please be aware.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
Christmas decorations are up at the White House. First Lady Melania Trump posted a video on Twitter showing the American Treasures display she helped design. The main tree is 19.5 feet tall. This is the Trump family's second Christmas at the White House.
Bel Air, Texas now has a new member of its officer force. He is also the youngest one. 7-year-old Max Boatwright took his oath 2 weeks ago. He earned honorary status for his bravery and determination during his fight against cancer. Max's father says his son loves police officers, and the event meant the world to them both. Max already battled a brain tumor and leukemia. When reporters asked Max why he wanted to be an officer, he said he gets to catch the bad guys like the Joker.
Parents are concerned about their children's safety as a new school regulation emerges.
A technology company apologized to its workers who contracted on-site diseases. Here's Isabel Ochoa with social media, tech, and health news.
Thanks, guys. A Chinese researcher claims he helped make the first genetically edited babies. Many scientists, however, think that this type of genetic manipulation isn't safe. One researcher said this kind of gene editing is banned in the U.S. because changes to the DNA can pass to future generations, risking future gene pools. The Chinese researcher said he altered the DNA of 2 girls with a new tool that can rewrite the genetic blueprint.
2 beautiful little Chinese girls named Lulu and Lana came crying into the world as healthy as any other babies a few weeks ago.
He said his goal is to create a treatment or cure that fights HIV and AIDS. Angry protesters took over a New York City Amazon store to protest the company's new Queens headquarters. About 50 to 75 people entered the store.
ECFO, Amazon has got to go. ECFO, Amazon has got to go.
During the protest, Amazon employees continued working, and many customers ignored the chants. Amazon said they will create 25,000 jobs in Long Island City, Queens. However, there's outrage over financial incentives given to Amazon by New York. Amazon gets a $1.5 billion tax credit from the state and $500 million for construction. Some angry residents also think the deal will hurt public transportation, housing costs, and small businesses. Some Nebraska parents are wary of a new lunch program requiring their children to use their fingerprints to pay for their lunch. The Westside School Public School District started the program 2 years ago. Now officials claim it's a success. Parent Justin Osterfoss thinks parents should decide whether or not their children should be fingerprinted. He says he appreciates new technology, but he isn't comfortable with this system. The school district said a child's personal information won't be stored, and the fingerprints will be used for giving lunches only. Samsung apologized to some of its workers who contracted diseases at work. The workers were at the company's chip and LCD production lines. Yonhap News Agency reports that Samsung will pay each worker $130,000. The company's CEO, Kim Kim-nam, says they didn't properly manage health risks at their chip and liquid crystal display production lines. One organization estimates around 200 employees have contracted work-related illnesses. 70 of them have died. That's it for social media, tech, and health news. Brian and Sammy, back to you.
Mexico is known for many culinary dishes. Tijuana, for instance, is known for its tacos. This is Tacos El Paisano in Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. They serve tacos de carne asada and adobada. Some of their customers cross the border just for the tacos. They make handmade tortillas and grill the meat as you order. Their tacos include avocado, cilantro, onion, and salsa. You can enjoy one of their tacos for about $1.25. Tacos El Paisano is family owned by Hector Chavez, who runs the shop now. They recently celebrated their 50th anniversary. They have made merchandise like t-shirts, hats, and now customers can show their love for tacos. They're open all week and have extended hours until 5 a.m. on weekends.
That's all for us at Valley View News. Thank you for watching. I'm Brian Baruman.
And I'm Sammy Shakta. For news any time of the day, you could go to our website, sundial.csun.edu. See you next week.